All right. That doesn't sound very... All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regularly Scheduled Meeting for Tuesday, August 20th, 2019. As a courtesy to all, please silence your cell phones. We're going to begin this evening's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance, led by City Manager Jones, and followed by an invocation from Greg Haslow of the Calvary Temple. If you'll join us, please.
Salute and pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you for having me. Let's pray. Almighty God, we thank you for the blessings that have been poured out upon our nation. Tonight we remember the families and communities who have been displaced and hurt by Hurricane Dorian. I pray our nation would be united in our efforts to provide clean drinking water, food, and building materials for all the affected people. We also remember the continued rebuilding in Ridgecrest and those areas for those affected by this earthquake. I ask safety for our law enforcement, fire personnel, first responders as they serve our community. Bring peace to our streets and give wisdom to our city council as they meet tonight. I ask in the name of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Knorr.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Here.
Councilmember Bryant.
Here.
Councilmember Eveland.
Here.
And Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
Item number 1 is citizen request public comments. Do we have a sheet?
Sir?
All right, thank you very much. Okay. Item number 1, citizens request public comments. This is the time and place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. First up this evening is going to be Bob Hampton. Did you want to speak now, or do you want to wait until we address the item on the agenda, Bob?
Address the item 10 on that consent agenda.
All right, then we will hold your place, sir. Thank you. Next up would be David Gordon of the Arts Council of Kern. State your name for the record, please, sir.
David Gordon. Good evening. My name is David Gordon. I'm the Executive Director of the Arts Council of Kern. And the Arts Council of Kern is an arts organization that has been around for around 42 years. And what I wanted to let you know about the Arts Council is that we are here to support and help surrounding communities and other communities in Kern County with anything arts related that might come your way. So if any of your constituents have an idea, like possibly a mural like the city of Wasco or Delano had, they came to us and we helped them pull that project together and accomplish that. And so we're actually here to tell you that we're an asset as far as the arts go. And not all the communities realize that there is an arts council in their county, and there's one in just about every county in California. And our mission is to provide support and promote art access, advocacy, and education for Kern County and its citizens. So some of the projects that we do is I just received a grant to teach music to veterans in Bakersfield. We helped get a grant to buy recording equipment for the radio stations in Frazier Park so that they can go out and videotape and produce different programs based on the artists that are up there, and then add to their type of public radio that goes into a whole conglomerate that anyone out throughout the United States can get on and then learn about what's happening in Frazier Park. We helped Delano with their Centennial mural. We hire artists to teach in 3 state prisons here. We also have artists go into Kern County Mental Health and teach. We do the Art Walk, or the big arts festival, once a month in downtown Bakersfield. And so what I wanted to let you know is if anyone comes to you with an arts project, send them our way, and we will attempt to help them. We get NEA grants. We get California Arts Council grants. We get grants where we send artists into hospitals to do arts projects with patients, their families, the people that support the hospital. So we can help you with any of those projects, and so that's what I wanted to let you know about. And we have our brochure here. If you are doing any arts project that needs promoting, we send events out to thousands of people every month. So if you have something that's coming up, or you need to hire an artist for a job, that's what we do. We find positions for artists. We have that kind of we have that repertoire that we can go out and find those people for you to do arts. Art's the vocation, just like being a plumber and electrician. We all have the student loans to prove it, and so we treat it like a job like anything else. So with that, I'd like to leave these for you. I have my card in here. We also put our marketing and outreach specialist card in here, so if you have anything coming up, a parade or anything arts related, we would love to know and help you with that.
I do believe that we have an award that was given us by the Kern Arts Council regarding our monument out there.
I bet.
I'm quite certain I have that frame.
Mm-hmm.
And I would ask you, sir, have you ever heard of the Portraits of a Warrior Gallery in
Yep.
Bakersfield?
It's on I Street in between 19th and 20th.
Roger that. Are you affiliated with that, or has anybody approached you from that organization to see if you could lend a hand?
We have, it's in our footprint for our art walk, so they are open at the same time that we have the First Friday festivities, where we have 100 or so arts vendors, and so that draws sometimes upwards of 2,000 people in about a few hours, so they keep their doors open, so we bring the people that they can see that gallery. And we work closely with the DBA who started that.
I believe they're going to celebrate their 1-year anniversary here shortly.
Yep, right across from the murals.
That's correct.
Yep, absolutely.
I've been honored and asked to be, and I'm a part of, I'm on the board of directors of that. I was asked by that
Oh, good.
organization to be
Great.
part of the board of directors, so it's a fabulous place, wonderful place.
It is.
All right, thank you very much for
Thank
coming
you.
forward.
And can I leave
Thank
these
you.
with? Okay, thank you. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you. Now. All right, next up to address the council will be Dr. Kathy Oren of the Taft Chamber of Commerce, the all-inclusive Taft Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening, council and folks. It's a pleasure to be here. And this works very well. Kudos to the staff. This is awesome. Oh, I'm proud of everybody. That's wonderful. I just have to update you on some things going on at the Chamber. Of course, we have our golf tournament coming up on the 28th of this month. That's a Saturday. We're always looking for volunteers. We're looking for teams. We're looking for sponsors. And we're looking for raffle items. This is good exposure for our businesses. It's wonderful exposure for people that are wanting to break into Taft. And we encourage you to give us a call. We'll help you decide what might be a good raffle prize for you to offer for this wonderful time. This is a good fundraiser for the Chamber, and we've always been very well supported, but it's also a lot of fun. So I remind you, if you haven't gotten an invitation or you can't find your invitation, call the Chamber. We'll be glad to send you one, or email or fax you one. And in October, we will have the kickoff concert, and this signals the beginning of Oil Dorado year. Because Oil Dorado, as you know, doesn't happen till October 2020, but it takes a lot of time to get ready because it is a wonderful festival. So that kickoff concert will be on 5th Street between North and Center, next to what is the Oil Dorado headquarters, and that will happen on the 12th of October. And tickets are not available at the Chamber. They are available on Eventbrite. That's everybody's going, yeah. Good. Eventbrite.com is where you can find your tickets for that. And there are different levels of tickets, and we encourage you to be a VIP. I encourage you to have a table if you'd like that, or you may come as an independent person and just enjoy the music, but it's there for you. And that's all I have. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Horn. Next up, item number 2, council statements, non-action. I'm going to start with you this evening, Ed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing tonight.
All right, well, that went quickly, didn't it? Councilman Eden.
No comments this evening.
All right. Josh?
No statement tonight, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem?
I do have a couple of comments. One is September 9th. The Teal program is having a Casablanca casino night there to fundraise for the transition for independent living, and it's the fundraiser is they get grants and stuff from the state, money from the state, but there's some programs that the state don't cover, so they fundraise for money that they can use for their clients that's not covered by the state, and it's a great program. It's people who are mentally challenged. They train from how to cook, to balance a checkbook, how to live independently, and live on their own and be part of society. It's a really good program, and I'm really in good support of it. And then anybody who would like to come for it, they can go online and look up Taft College Hill on the Casablanca night, and they can get their tickets there, or just come to the door, and it's $75 for the tickets, and have a great time and support our program at the Taft College. And I hope to see you all there. And the second thing is, you probably seen around town the Boy Scouts and Cub Scouts trying to raise fundraisers and stuff, selling popcorn, different things. And when I was younger, I was in a Boy Scouts. My dad was a Cub Scout master, and it's a great organization for morals and being part of growing up and sports and being a leadership and stuff. And I encourage it, and I have to read this because it's a little too small for me, but Pack 426 in Troop 1 is chartered by Taftway Lodge number 426 free and accepting Masons is conducting an annual popcorn sales. Please help and support these youth by purchasing some when you see them around the area. And I encourage that because our kids, in today's world, it is a challenging world to be in. And there you get their morals, and even the Girl Scouts, support the Girl Scouts too. And it's a great education for the kids. And I knew when I grew up in there and learned and all the things about working together as a team player and about God and all the things that entails in being part of society is in there for our youth. And we don't. It's a great organization to be there, and I like for everybody to support it. And that's one of the things I like for everybody to see. You see them selling popcorn, buy a bag or two. And that's all I have to say, Mayor.
All right. You're right. It's a wonderful organization, Boy Scouts of America. And I was part of it when I was a young man, too. How about the outdoors? The golf tournament, Chamber Golf Tournament. My company is going to sponsor a team, and we have got some guys with great attitudes and high handicaps, and we're going to have a lot of fun. We are not exactly sure how far down the list we're going to finish, but we plan on having a ball, and we will be there. I encourage everybody to be a part of it, and I'm going to go ahead and take this moment to let you all know that about a year later, as a part of El Dorado, we, along with the Chamber, because I've already met with the Chamber about this, are going to create the inaugural El Dorado Golf Classic. And we are going to put together a golf tournament that is going to really put us on the map. We're really looking forward to it, so I encourage everybody to be a part of the Chamber tournament. It's always a good time, and we're going to put together a humdinger for El Dorado, and we will be doing it with the Chamber every 5th year. So there'll be 4 Chamber tournaments, then we're going to have an El Dorado tournament. So I want to thank Kathy and Shannon and everybody who's a part of that for being open-minded, and we're looking forward to making that happen as well. The golf tournament is going to be on the 28th, And I want to tell you about something else. We're talking about the Portraits of a Warrior Gallery. Those of you who don't know what that is, it's in downtown Bakersfield. It's a phenomenal place, and it honors the fallen. I met there a young fella with an outfitting company. He and his wife, and they're hunter outfitters here in California, if you can believe that. And there's some great hunting to be had on the coast over there. And they were putting together a program called Hunt for Heroes, whereby young men and women who served our country and suffered debilitating injuries during the course of their service to this country, they will be vetted and they will qualify for sponsored hunts. And you as a sponsor might well have the opportunity to accompany that soldier in the field. When I heard about it, I asked them if they had sponsors for that, and at the time they did not. I said, well, I want to be the first. So on the 28th, I plan on having a grand time playing golf in the chamber tournament. On the 29th, then we will be hunting with actually a pair of brothers that both suffered debilitating injuries in service for their country. So Hunt for Heroes, those of you who think, wow, that's really a neat deal, I'd like to be a part of that and perhaps sponsor a veteran, come see me, because it's going to be a really neat program. I believe that they're going to record it so that they can let people know what it's all about and get people outdoors and enjoy it. So that's going to be an awful fun weekend for me, the 28th and the 29th. That's all I have. Moving on, department reports. Item number 3. Do we have any department reports this evening? We do. I believe the chief of police is going to come up here and talk to it. You have all the time you need, chief.
Thank you, sir. Members of the council, mayor, city manager Craig, no Jason Apperson, and Madam Secretary. We call it vet. I'm going to give a statistical report for, this will be for August for the police department. Total incidents for calls for service were 952. Well, that's total incident. Calls for service were 472, and officer-initiated incidents, we barely made that statistic, Jeff. It's 480, so I'm still proud of that. Wow. Traffic stops of 82. We had vehicle ped checks of 84, which is both vehicle and ped checks. Total officer reports for the month of August is 151. We had 32 felony reports and 70 misdemeanor reports, some unclassified reports, incident activity, and general information cases. Total misdemeanor and felony arrests of 69. We had 58 misdemeanor arrests and 11 felony arrests. Vehicles parked, towed, and abandoned were 10. And like I said, my guys are still doing a great job. Guys and gals are still doing a great job, and I'm very proud of them. I'm also going to give a quick brief summary of our code enforcement report today. And we just finished up a fiasco on Sunset. I won't give you the address, but it was 7 days of hard work, taxing our city employees along with the city employees from the police department. We did get that under control, and an abatement warrant we had to get signed by a judge to take over that yard and their residence. We did secure quite a bit of property, and there will be some notices going out over that. I believe we have 5 demos in the future. Is that right, Yvette? 3 now?
Yeah, 3 out.
Okay. 3 out for bid?
3 out for bid.
Okay. And we're waiting on the bids to come back for those so we can write the abatement warrants and take those. We also are in the process of issuing another abatement warrant for Kern Street, and I'll leave the address out, but that's just part of my game. So we are working hard, and they're going in the right direction. I'm very proud of them. So, and also, Mayor, high handicaps and good attitudes, that comes hand in hand. Because I've been a competitive golfer at 3, so when you're in the 20s, you got to have a good time. I mean, there's nothing else but having a good time. So that's just the way that is. Also, I went to something serious today. I went to a funeral at River Lakes Church today for a fallen BPD officer, Kevin Hawk, and good man. I've known him short. Actually, I've known him quite a few years back. I met him again a few years, probably about 2 years ago. And he came up with a tough illness to overcome, and eventually took him down. And great service, and just another fallen soldier for the Blue that everybody should think about in their prayers. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Chief.
Quick question, Chief.
Sure.
Just to confirm, you had a total of 952 calls for service. 472 of those were dispatched, and actually 480 were on-site. There was more on-site than there was dispatch calls. So that tells me a whole lot about the product that you're getting out there.
They're on the offense, not the defense.
That's outstanding.
Thank you.
That is
we
outstanding.
usually have been quite a bit more over the officer initiated, but we squeaked out 8 today, or this month, so I'm still proud of them, and I still would be proud but if you notice, the calls for service went up quite a bit. They were usually in the mid 300s, so that's kind of hand in hand when you start getting heavy calls for service. Kind of takes away from the officer initiated, as you know.
It's still terrific stats, especially for a community this size. That's outstanding.
Certainly appreciate the updates when it comes to code enforcement. You know, a lot of times we make the complaint, but we don't always see the legwork that goes into that after the fact, behind the scenes, and even after the fact, the report. So I know the citizens around are really, really appreciative of the folks, and of course of your officers. So thank you.
Thank you. I leave a lot of the addresses out because it's just part of the game. You can't really broadcast it that much when you're writing a search warrant too, because they'll actually, just the front end will get cleaned up, but it's not a total clean like it should be. You know, you can always kind of hide things. So we are doing our job. We're out there working, and I'm proud of Jill. She's actually motivated herself and reaching out and staying out in the public, and Amber as well. So I'm really proud of them, actually.
Please tell them thank you.
Yeah, I surely will.
Very good. Requires a great deal of work on the front side. Like you say, Councilman Bryant, a lot of people aren't aware of how much work, and it has to be done properly on the front side. And,
absolutely.
I mean, you're running a marathon. It's not a sprint, but you've got to dot those I's and cross those T's. So.
And you got to understand, and to piggyback off that one, you got to understand something when you're seizing somebody's property and going into their residence or into their yard. Everything has to be legal. You have to go to a judge. You have to secure a search warrant, as others here know, and the ex-chief knows that there's a process to it, and you got to write a return, and you got to take it back, and you've got to get everything signed and all the T's crossed and the I's dotted to make sure everything's legal, so the city is not liable for things that happen.
Roger that. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chief.
Okay, do we have any other department reports this evening? None? All right. City manager statement. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. I have nothing tonight.
All right. City attorney statements. I'm going to make the assumption that he's not going to have any this evening either.
No statement.
All right. Future agenda requests. Gentlemen, do we have any future agenda requests this evening?
None here.
None? All right. No future agenda requests. Next up, consent calendar items 7 through 12. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the City Council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on?
Yes.
Who was that? Okay, that's fine. If you'll bear with me. Do you want to? Okay, why don't you go ahead and step up here, Bob?
Yeah, Mayor Gore, Councilman, City Manager Craig. Item 10, I just want to say that Westside Waste Management, we support the recommendation of signing a consulting agreement with HF&H Consultants, a firm in the Los Angeles area and also in Sacramento, well known throughout California and especially in Kern County. In June at your board meeting, Rob Hilton gave you a report on Senate Bill 1383 that deals with recycling. And since then, City Manager Craig has talked with HF&H, and I've also talked with Craig. And we do support, as your garbage collector for 24 years in the city of Taft, we support that consulting agreement. Senate Bill 1383, counties and cities need to know if they're in compliance. And this is in some cases a 3, 4, and a 5-year project of diversion. And HF&H is well recognized And finally, in the city of Taft, where we have just mentioned, been here for 24 years, been in the county for 37 years, and in our case here, the county is right across the street in so many areas of the city, and to be in compliance with SB 1383 is very vital, and we support Westside Waste Management, myself and my grandson, who is aboard now at full-time, and Tisha Gant, very up on SB 1383. And so we do support the recommendation to sign the agreement with HF&H. Thank you any questions?
No, sir. I believe we're going to discuss this at length. So thank you for stepping up and making your comments, Bob.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Mayor
that, sir.
North.
Any other individuals in the audience wish to comment on any matter on the consent calendar? No. All right then. Consent calendar items 7 through 12. Item number 7 would be the minutes from the August 20th regularly scheduled meeting. Item number 8, payment of bills, a little bit more than last time.
876.
Yeah, $800,000. Item number 9, authorized by Revolution the use of an application for $16,391 in fiscal year 2019-2020 for the California State of Good Repair Program for transit projects. The recommendation there is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Approval of the Proposed Project List for the fiscal year 2019-2020 California Senate Bill 1 State of Good Repair Program." Item number 10, professional service agreement with HF&H Consultants, LLC. Recommendation there is a motion to authorize the mayor to enter into professional services agreement with HF&H Consultants, LLC. Item number 11, placement of In God We Trust emblem on Taft police vehicles. The recommendation is a motion to approve placement of In God We Trust 4x6 emblems on Taft Police Department vehicles and direct Police Chief McMinn to write an internal policy for the placement of said emblems. Item number 12, approval of memorandums of agreement and employee compensation plans. Recommendation there is a motion to adopt resolutions, plural, entitled number 1, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft approving the Memorandum of Agreement and Employee Compensation Plan for Taft Correctional Officers Association Communications Workers of America, AFL-CIO Local 9110. And secondly, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft approving the Memorandum of Agreement and Employee Compensation Plan for Taft Correctional Supervisors Association Communications Workers of America, AFL-CIO Local 9110. Does any council member wish to remove any items from the consent calendar?
I'd like to remove number 11.
Item number 11. All right.
Sounds like we want to remove item 10 as well, please.
All right. Item 10. Any others, gentlemen? No? At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 7, 8, 9, and 12.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Yes. Mayor Pro Tem Cryer?
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant?
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn?
Yes, but I must abstain from item 12, both 1 and 2 subheadings on there.
Okay.
Potential conflict.
Councilmember Whiting?
Yes, and I also must abstain from item number 12, 1 and 2.
And Mayor North?
Yes. Thank you all very much. All right, next item on the agenda, item number 10, professional service agreement with HF&H Consultants, LLC. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. In 2016, Senate Bill 1383 was voted into law. SB 1383, as it relates to organic waste and landfills, will greatly impact our community financially and operationally. The new law and its contents are very complicated and require many in-depth measures that must be taken by municipalities to comply with the new law. City staff reviewed the bill's text and as it pertains to the City of Taft. Staff recently had meetings with Kern County Solid Waste Division employees to help understand the complexity of the law and to begin planning a strategy to comply with the new laws. Cities who do not comply with the new law in 2020 will be subject to daily fines that can amount to tens of thousands of dollars in areas in which they are non-compliant in. City staff found most municipalities have or are in the process of hiring professional services to assist them with research, development, and delivery of processes required for compliance of 1383. After reaching out to other municipalities, it was recommended we interview HF&H Consultants LLC as a potential possibility to assist our city. City staff reviewed qualifications and client lists, which showed that they have assisted over 100 California municipalities in compliance efforts related to solid waste laws and compliance. The consultant currently has a team of 13 staff members dedicating to understand and implementing overall plans as it relates to 1383 compliance. Staff would recommend that the City Council consider hiring HF&H for the following tasks: negotiation of SB 1383 franchise agreement, solid waste and wastewater rate studies, lighting and landscape assessment and review, and present rate study results and development of 1383 ordinances.
Thank you, City Manager Jones. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve professional services agreement with HF&H Consultants LLC and authorize the mayor to execute.
So moved.
Second.
A motion and a second. You made the motion, sir. Any discussion?
I do. Just a quick comment. I think it's really important that we're all very aware of what's at hand here. City staff, with support of this council and plenty of councils before, is constantly trying to find ways to make the city of Taft and those areas around us more affordable, more attractive, more business friendly. And every time we take a step forward, we're slapped back down with additional legislation from the state that makes California the exact opposite. Less affordable, less cost effective. You're driving people away, especially from communities such as ours. And what folks don't realize is this will hit the taxpayer directly and indirectly, because service providers such as Mr. Hampton and Westside Waste, they're going to have to hire additional staff or put in extra time and purchase extra equipment to ultimately be able to comply with this. And it's not fair that they're not asking the taxpayer to take on some of that burden. But then again, what happens? To cover those costs, rates go up. We could see rates increase on us anywhere up to approximately 40%, which at the end of the day, it's going to cost the average taxpayer, let's say $50 a year, just to use round numbers. That's $50 I could spend on myself, on my family, on my kids, and leisure time. But instead, it's going to cover administrative costs and bureaucratic costs from the state of California, and it's going to impact business. It's going to impact restaurants, especially hotels, because they're going to have to spend time and effort and people and equipment to help with diversion. Not that diversion's bad. We all should do our part to make sure that we're recycling where we can, just being good stewards of the environment. But at the end of the day, when it costs more than the benefit that you're getting from it, is it truly the effort worth making? And at the end of the day, we're going to continue to tax people out of California, and it's unfortunate, but Taft is going to continue to take a hit. This is not something that's being driven by the city of Taft. I think it's important that we put that out there, but it's something that we're forced to comply with. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
I have a comment. Bob Hampton and I sit on the board, the Solid Waste Advisory Board, and this has been a kind of a topic that we've been discussing for the last several months on this subject of 1383. Councilman Bryant is correct, but there's a lot more to it than that. It's going to be a lot worse what you're saying. The cities are going to be held accountable. It also is going to affect each homeowner if they don't have those different containers and stuff and keep them separated. They're also going to have another one for food. Keep it separated from your trash. And we're self-policing, but they're going to have inspectors from the state who will come and make sure that the cities or industries are following the rules and regulations. If not, the fines are quite heavy. I believe they start about $50,000 per incident, something like that, Bob. Is that correct, or am I wrong? For the fines, our first fine for each city, not in compliance with this new 1383 law. And you can imagine businesses, poultry businesses, the egg businesses, grocery stores, and then a city, and Bob Hampton's business, not making sure each of the households following the procedures. He's got to make sure that each home is following it. And it costs him money to do it, and plus the fine, eventually he's not going to hit the homeowners yet for the fines, but a couple of years down the road, I think in 2023, 22, 23, then the homeowners are going to be hit with the fine. But right now, this will be the major industries in the cities. But it's Big Brother all over again, making it hard for us to worry about them getting looking through our garbage, basically. No pun intended. But no, it's one of those things. It's not a good law, but we got it. It's been passed, and it's going to come down the pike, and we're going to have to abide by it. Not because we have to, but we have to. We want to, but we have to, unfortunately. That's all I have to say, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much. Councilman Elam.
Once again, I'd like to just reiterate what both these gentlemen are saying. It's once again, California is doing everything they can to both drive out business and make it harder on the citizen. And like Councilman Bryant was saying, it's very important that the citizenry understand this is absolutely not driven at the level of the city of Taft. We don't want this any more than anybody else. But again, it's a mandate that we can't skirt. So that's all I have.
All right. Councilman Whiting.
No comment, thank you.
All right. This was left behind by Jerry Brown. And I think history will show that this nightmare is going to be as counterproductive and costly and destructive as the CalPERS nightmare that Gray Davis left us to deal with, which eventually will finish off municipalities. It will destroy the financial ability of municipalities to deliver critical services to the taxpayer, to the customer. This is going to do the same thing. This is going to grow government. And in order to finance that, first they will fine municipalities, the state will, and then later on the state will give those municipalities the ability to fine individuals. Diversion has a place. Diversion also has a carbon footprint. In our escalating run towards a low carbon environment, we are going to create another carbon footprint right here. In order to separate and move these things from point A to point B, you're going to create another carbon footprint. So here again, as bad as screw up as the pension fund debacle from Gray Davis. High-speed rail is another one. I came down through Fresno the other day. I came back from vacation, and I saw the monuments to the ridiculousness that is high-speed rail. They are monoliths, giant concrete monoliths, a section of a bridge standing in the middle of a field with nothing leading to it and nothing leading away from it. Covered with graffiti already, just a great big canvas for graffiti artists, and there it stands. Cost to the taxpayers millions and millions of dollars. Could very well, and it's going to be in the billions. Just an absolute waste of time. This mess, 1383, is going to be a huge burden on the elderly, the retired, those on fixed income, those people who can least afford this kind of stuff are going to get hit again. They're going to wake up one morning, they're going to go, what happened? There it was. After I pay my bills, I only had 15% of all the money I bring into my household left for discretionary income, and they just took 5 of it. That leaves me with 10. It's going to happen. This is a nightmare of a piece of legislation. We have to comply with it. Let the record show I do not support this, not one bit. This might have been a thought at some point in time, but the method in which government is going to try to accomplish this goal is absolutely asinine. That's as good as I can say about that. So, any further discussion on this matter, gentlemen? None. I have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant.
Yes.
Councilmember Eveland.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
And Mayor Knorr.
Yes, and by saying yes, we just spent $160,000 of the taxpayers' dollars just to study this, so we can try to come up with a compliance roadmap. $160,000 just disappeared. Yes, and passed on a 5-0 vote. Thank you. All right, next up, item number 11, placement of In God We Trust emblem on Taft police vehicles. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor Pro Tem Cryer had previously requested an agenda item to be placed on emblems with In God We Trust motto be brought back to the council for consideration. With concurrence from Councilmember Bryant, at the August 20th council meeting, Reverend Angelo Frazier spoke about the placement of these emblems being considered around the county and provided a sample of emblems to the council members. This item is being brought back to council in response that the request and considered budget neutral, As Reverend Fraser's program will provide the necessary emblems if this item is approved.
Thanks, City Manager Jones. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve placement of "In God We Trust" 4x6 emblems on Taft Police Department vehicles and direct Police Chief McMinn to write an internal policy for the placement of said emblems.
Motion.
Second.
Okay, I missed
I have
the motion.
multiple motions and I have multiple seconds. I do believe Councilman Whiting had the original motion.
Okay.
And I believe the original second came from Councilman Evelyn. All right. Councilman Whiting, you made that motion, sir. You may begin the discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I think it's important that we understand where this comes from, and that is that in God we trust. I think that's a pretty simple sentiment. But it's not really a sentiment. This country was raised with "In God We Trust," and we've been doing it ever since. It's on our money, it's in our Pledge of Allegiance, it's in our schools, our businesses, it's in everyday life. We are simply showing the people that we embrace that and that we have that faith. And I think to do anything less is really just is not good. That's all I have.
Thanks, sir. Councilman Evelyn, you had the second.
Speaking also in complete agreement with Councilman Whiting, speaking at it from both ends of this, I can tell you that I would be proud to have this on my patrol car. I have no issues with it, and I would like for us to pursue it. I'm very much for this, and as being, again, our country was founded on this principle. We've been all these years with it. I don't have an issue with it. I'm hoping nobody else does either. That's all
Thanks,
I have,
sir. Councilman Bryant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. One of the beautiful things about this country are all the freedoms and liberties that we are able to enjoy every day, and those that are secured to us through the Constitution, chief among them being pursuit of our religion of choice or no religion at all. This country, in my opinion, was founded on the belief of an omnipotent and omnipresent force and being, whatever you choose to name it or call it or worship it. You have that choice and that ability, but it is a God. It is not necessarily a certain God to anyone in particular, but I believe, in my personal opinion, I have my God. More than likely, it's the same God we're talking about here. But the beautiful thing about this country is we don't have to choose one in particular. It's not one forced upon us. But I'll happily support the idea that we have our police officers and any other folks in public safety support that and support that on their vehicles. If they choose not to, I'm sure that will be addressed in the chief's policy, and I look forward to supporting the chief's policy. But I wholeheartedly support this agenda, this item, and look forward to seeing those on patrol cars with the City of Taft logo from now in perpetuity.
All right.
Thank you.
I think, sir. Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. I concur with my fellow council members here on what they commented on, and it's our motto, our national motto in our country. And what I understand is we approved back in July 1st that we authorized Chief McMinn to look in our policy, be able to do it, and come with the policy back in July. I don't see why we have to do another one again. I'd like to say we approved it. In God we trust. Maybe we have a policy in place. Is that correct, Chief McMinn? Do we have one now in place?
Policy in place for placing these stickers on the vehicle.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
No, we do not have a policy in place for placing these stickers on the vehicle.
Okay. Then back in July, what were you directed to do then in July at the time? With this to
I was directed to check for policies for other departments, and a lot of the departments don't have policies. It's a choice. They implement it by the officers choosing to place it on their vehicle or not.
Okay.
Giving them the freedom of choice.
Okay. Another question I have before the council and with our Chief McMinn is if we approve to approve the motto "In God We Trust," would you be the? Could you?
Could you step up to the mic, please, sir? Thank you.
Could you at this time be put one on your vehicle today if we approve it? That'd be against your policy, or that'd be an honor for you to do so?
Well, in my belief, it would be. I would do it just out of my belief, and because I'm Christian and I believe in the Lord. So absolutely, it would be on my vehicle.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that.
Sure.
And I'd like to see us, I'll go ahead and put the matter to a vote. We'll have a vote here on it, in favor of "In God We Trust," our motto, and then get your policy written for the officers and for the city, make sure we're all safe and everything.
Be quite simple.
And
We'll get it taken
hopefully
care
that you could be the first one to put on your vehicle today, and if that's allowed by the council and yourself.
Oh, absolutely, by me.
Thank you.
You bet.
That's all I have to say.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Chief. I too support this policy. I support "In God We Trust." I happen to have one on my wife's Denali right now because I got it at the last city council meeting. I believe it belongs on our city seal and in our Pledge of Allegiance. So, that being said, it sounds like it's somewhat unanimous amongst these individuals. So, without further ado, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Eveland,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
God, yes.
and Mayor North.
Yes, and that passes on a 5-0 vote. Thank you all very much. All right, that concludes the open session items for this evening. The City Council will go into closed session for items A, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9B, 2 potential cases. Item B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9A, Taft Union High School versus the City of Taft. Item C, conference with labor negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code Section 54957.6, all units. And item D, conference with real property negotiator Craig Jones, City Manager, Government Code Section 54956.8, APN number 032-110-30 and 032-110-70 and 71. I thank you all for attending this evening's meeting. The open session portion of this meeting is adjourned.